Really fun.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi, Ernie.
Hi, George. We are on Samech Vav 66. Haim, the Vloda the Semuda Asa. That when it says Gam Haim, we're talking about the Eslan Zona. That means the animal itself, but cannot be used as a korban, but the child could. Ubesil Tarti Shmamina. Beisil learns both dinim from Haim. Haim below Shinu AM. That means if you gave the Zona flour and she baked it into a bread, so it's only the flour that there would be an Isser as a korban. And Haim below the Sayam, if you gave the Zona an animal, it's only that animal itself that couldn't be used as a korban, but the vlad of that animal could be used. Ubeisel Aksiv Gam, which is a ribui. So Gam leBeisil Kasha. So the Gam for Beisil would be a problem. Ad kanloi pligi eladamar sarvashinu koine. We talked about when the Goslin stole a calf and it turned into a cow by aging. So the fact that there was a shinui, does it acquire? The Goslin acquires it? And according to that, you would not pay Dalad Chamisha. Umar Sover ain't Shinui Koine. And therefore, it still remains with the original owner. And the Ganef then has to pay Dalad Chamisha. That's for the Knas. Aval Inyan Shlumi Kula Kedemikar Mishal. That you look at the value of what it was when you stole it. Dikitani. Mishalim Tashlumi Kefil with Tashlumi Arba Chamisha Ke'en Shaganav. That the valuation for Kefil and Arba Chamisha is the value of what it was when he stole it, not Amad Bedin, which is Lamet Tiavatiyuf to Rav. So Rav tried to say that you would pay that based on Amad Bedin, not Ke'en Shaganav. Omer Rav. Karen Ke'en Shaganav Mishal. The principle, like we said before, is the value of whatever was stolen at the time that he stole it. And Rava explains that it depends on what kind of change we're talking about. Tloim, if you're talking about a sheep that becomes a ram, so there the goof of the animal changed. So there everyone agrees that you pay the value of what it was when he stole it, Kidimikara. Now, if the money value, if it's a sheep and it's a sheep, but when he stole it was worth $100 and now on the market it's worth $400. So if it's damim, you pay shalasha. You pay kefil or dal v'chamisha based on current value. Amarab. This concept that we say when a Goslin steals something and there's a shinui, there's a change, ksiva v'tanina. And when there's a change, he's koine it. It's been written in the Torah, and we learned it in the Mishnah. Ksiva, it says, Ve'yeshiva sagzela asher gazal. Now, ma tamud loimer asher gazal. It should just say Ve'yeshiva sagzela. So we answer, Im ke'en shegazol, if the item is exactly the way it was when he stole it, yachziroto, then you return the gzela. The imlav, if it's changed, so damim ba'amal boy shlumi, he doesn't have to return the item itself. He can pay the value with money.
So even if the item has stayed the same physically, if the value of the item has changed, he pays the original value only?
So based on what we said before by Rava, if there's a change in domim, you pay the way it is now at Amada B'din. And the halacha, the Rambam and the Shulchan Aruch pass like this: Misha Gazal Chayfetz v'nishtane, and it changed because it got fatter, or it turned from a calf to a cow, where it cannot go back to the way it was when he stole it. So the Ganav acquires it. He's coining it, and he only has to pay the value. Even if
Is inflation considered a change?
It's a change. We said if it changes in value.
Person steals money, and the money goes down in value over the next year, worth less. Is that a change?
So it's a change, but it's a change in dummy, not in the etzem of the item. So if it changes in the etzem of the item, he pays the way it was when he stole it, or the value of what it was when he stole it. If there's no change, he pays like Amada B'din. If there's a change only in Mechir, but the goof of the item didn't change, he pays like Amada B'din. Now, Amar Rabba, Ksiva v'tanina, Ksiva ve'yeshiva asher gazal, Ma'tamad loymar, asher gazal, im ke'ein shegazal, if it didn't change, yachzir, he returns the item itself. V'im lav, if the item changed, damim ba'alma boishlim, he only has to pay the money value. Tanina, a goizel eitzim, he stole lumber, but he built a desk, right? Asan Keli. Or he stole tzemer, he stole wool, Asan Begodimi. He made a sweater out of it. So how does he return? There's a din of Yeshivas Agzela. So Mishalem Kishas Agzela. He doesn't have to return the item itself. He pays the money what it was worth at the time that he stole. Or Inami, lo he speak, listen. Ad shetzvo, there's a din reishis hagez that when you shear a sheep, the wool, the first shearings have to go to the kohen. If he hasn't given it to the kohen, ad shetzvo, he dyed the wool potter. There's only chiyuv reishis hagez when the wool is in its original state. Alma, shinui koina. The fact that you make a shinui in the item acquires it for the guy who made the shinui. Now,
that's like when the guy takes his miser through the window instead of through the door. He doesn't pay anything. It's the same concept.
Here we're talking about the concept that the guy
that he made a shinoi, I understand,
and therefore he acquires it. There's a Xeris HaKosuv, where if it doesn't go through the deles, there's no chiyuv meiser.
Yeah, but it's the same kind of it's a knetch to get out of giving.
Okay, so if you want to view it as a loophole,
it's a loophole. It's a tax loophole.
So, but there's other items that play into this loophole. Meaning, what about the guy who was stolen from, the original owner? Do you need Yeyush? Does the original owner have to abandon hope of getting the item back in order for the Ganav to be koine it? Or let's say the Ganav didn't make a shinu and the Bailim had Yeyush. Ami Rabbanon Dedikni. The Rabbanon say that the Ganav acquires it with Yeyush Bailim. However, miyuloyadinani deraisa yidrabanan. When he acquires it, does he acquire it min Torah, or it's only a takona michachon that Yerush is koina? And Rabbi explains the difference. I deraisa midi dahavi moitza aveda. It's similar maybe we would say it's similar to a person who finds a lost object on the street. Motze Aveda, lav kiven to miyayish mora, mina. If the original owner who lost the object had abandoned it, mekamet tesi liyada, before the guy who found it had picked it up, cunningly, the guy who found it would acquire it with that yeyush. So maybe we'll say by a gazlan, hanami kiven to miyayish mora cunningly, even without shinui, that if the guy who was stolen from gave up hope that he's ever going to get it back, the gazlan maybe acquires it midoraisa without any shinui. Al makani, o dilma lo dan yilavi. Maybe being a gazlan is not the same as finding an object. When you pick up a lost object on the street, you're allowed to pick that up. In fact, you have a chiyuv. Pick it up and return the aveda. You didn't acquire it with any isser. So maybe there, Yeush would acquire it for him. Aval hai kiven de bisur asal yodeh. As a ganef, when you stole it, that's the isser that you got it. So maybe only mi rabbanan udo amar rabbanan nikni. Maybe it's only a takonos chachamim that with Yeush bailim he acquires it. Why? Mipnei takonos hashavim. We want to make it easier for a Baal Tshuva to return a lost object or return a stolen object. And we don't make him do it. He acquires it, and all he has to do to correct the gzela is to pay back the monetary value of what he stole. Rav Yosef Amar, Yeush eina koine. When you steal something and the Bailim abandoned hope, there's no kinyan at all. Unless the Ganef for the Gazlan does a shinui. So you need Yeush and shinui. And the halacha is, you steal something and the Bailim were misyayish, the Ganef does not acquire it, he has to return the item if the item is still be'en. And Yeush doesn't acquire it for him. Yeush alone isn't koine. We'll see. Shinui, Yeush and Shinui has a different. Said before, Shinui is koine. And the only thing he has to pay back is money. Even if the Bailim were not misyayish. Eisver of Yosef L'Rab. Gozel Chometz. 2 weeks before Pesach, a guy comes and steals 10 bottles of Macallan whiskey, which is Chometz. V'over alav Pesach. And while the Gazlan still has it, Pesach came and went. So Chometz Shover Lava Pesach is Asr Bano, has no value anymore. Oimer La Reisha Chalafanecha. The Gazlan can take the box of whiskey and return it the way it was, even though it's not worth anything, because it's a damage that's not nicker, Rashi says. And he is considered as if he returned it, even though the chametz is not worth anything. V'hai, even the mati idin isura. Now here it's clearly a case that the Bailim learned that whiskey was stolen a week before Pesach. Once Erev Pesach comes, where there's an Isser Chametz, Vadem Yayish, he clearly abandoned hope of ever getting this back. The Isaac Daitich Yeush Kana. So if Yeush acquires it for the Ganev, Amai Omer La Reshachal Fanecha, Dmei Mahaya Boy Shlomilei. It was his already Erev Pesach. And therefore he has to pay good money value as if the time when he stole it. If you're going to say he was koined. From here is proof that he's not koined. Amr leki kamina ana. When do we say that Yeush is koine? That's zemis yosh v'zerotzeliknos. That's if the Bailim abandoned and the Ganav wants the item. Hi, zemis yosh v'zeno rotzeliknos. The Gazan also doesn't want to acquire it because he knows that it's usher as Isser Chometz. Eisvia Bailim Rab. It says korbano, which a kosher animal he can be makriv. V'lo agazul. If you stole an animal, it's possible a korban, you can't be makriv with. Na'echidami, what's exactly the case? Ilema lifnei yeush. The Gazlan steals it. He's magdish the animal, even though the owner has not given up hope to get it back. So why would I need a pasuk? Lama likra that he's not yotzei. Pshita, he can't be magdish, something doesn't belong to him. Elalav lacher yesh. Must be the Bailim were misyayish, and he acquired it. Or we'll say no, shmami no yesh loikani, that he cannot be magdish it because just because the Bailim were misyayish is not coined it. Armele Rava Ulatameh, based on your svara, Hadatanya, b'mishkavo. You have a man with a seminal emission who is Tomei B'tumazav. You sit on a mattress, Matami is the mattress. But it's only if it's his. V'lo hagazel. If he stole a mattress, he's not Matami that mattress. Hechidami. Ilem hagazel amrava avdei mishkav. He stole raw wool and he prepared the wool as a mattress. So, is there anybody who holds that if you changed the item itself that you're not coining it? He certainly acquired that, and certainly if he manufactured a mattress, he would mimatame it. So what does it mean? Lo gazel, gazel mishkav the chavre. He actually stole a mattress. And Ochanami, so similarly in the previous case, Gazel Korban the Chavre. The friend had already been Magdish this animal, and he stole it. So that's why he's not Yotzei because it's not his. There's no raya regarding the case of Yehu. Esrei Abayla Rav Yosef. Oirish Balabayis. You have leather that is owned by not a leather worker, a regular homeowner. Now, that homeowner's machshava, that even though it's not a finished product, but he wants to use it. So it's metamason. It becomes a kli, and it's makabel tum, because it's considered like a kli gomer, even with machshava alone. However, if the raw leather belongs shel abdin, a tanner, so ein machshava metamason. He actually needs to do some kind of finished maisa to make it a finished kli. Now, what about if the piece of leather had been stolen? Shel ganav. So machshava, if the ganav has a machshava to use it, even the way it is now, mitamasa. Now, a ganav steals at night, and the guy who was stolen from doesn't know who the guy stole it. Gazlan, which is somebody who sticks you up, you know exactly who stole from you. Ein machshava mitamasa. His machshava will not affect it. Rashi, shel ganav machshavta mitamason, the kananu b'yeush. The ganav acquires it through yeush. The ksavas time gedevi yesh bailami. If you wake up in the morning and you know last night somebody stole something from you, you're unlikely to get it back. You'll be miyayish. And because the lo yoda l'man l'tovo, he doesn't know who he can claim it from. So, but a gazlan, where he's not miyayish, He thinks about its use, even that doesn't have to do anything further to it. For example, he wants to cover horses with it. Because Tam Xer's like Yeush. He's not, because the Kivin the Yodaman Chakra, he knows who took it from him. Also Ladina. Now, Rab Shimon Omer Chiluf Advar. He says, if it belongs to a Gazlan, Machshava Metamosa. The Gazlan's Machshava to use it will make it a Kli. Vishalganaf en Machshava Metal. Why? And he also Fishalonis Yashua Bailim at all. So Shmamina, based on this brisa, Yeush, even without Shinoi, Kana. The Gazlan cut it and straightened it out. So there was a Shinu Mice as well. So that's why the Gazlan acquired it. And it doesn't shed light on what we've been looking for, which is Yerushalayim. Maskim Rabbi Rav Chanan. How could you be talking about that he did a Mice? It's for Shanukan. We're talking about narrow pieces of leather, straight and smooth, that he wanted to use the way it is. The itzva you don't have to cut it. It's not. Anything that doesn't require further work in order to get it to be used as something, you could use it right now. So machshava, your thought to use it is metamosa. Makes it a kli, makes it a makabel tumah. Yesh chisra melacha. But if there is still stuff to do to the raw material, then even if you had in mind to use it, ein machshava metamosa. The only example chutz mina itzva, because their machshava alone will make it a kli. Any other work done to an itzva is just decorative. It is already ready to be used. Rav Yosef Esin V'Tartin Shani. This was a problem for Rabbi Rav Yosef for 22 years. V'lo Ifrake, the kasha was not resolved. Ad Yosef Rav Yosef Bereisha. So Rav Yosef was appointed the Rosh Yeshiva. Uparke, and he explained Shinu Yashem, Kishinu Maisadam. When you change the name of something, it's as if you did a Shinu Maisa. Shinu Maisa, my time. Why doesn't the Ganav return the item the way it is now? Because he had done something to it. Because Hasami Ikara was Eitzim, was a piece of raw lumber when he stole it. Hashta Kalim, now it's a desk. So he cannot return the desk and have anything to do with returning the original item. So Shinu Hashem Nami, Mikari Korle Mashra, initially was called leather. Hashta Abarzin, now it's called leather that's used to cover something. Now, however, the Gemara is not going to bring us a case which seems to be contradictory to what we just learned. Vare Morish. Morish is a beam that you put as the main structure to hold up a ceiling. The Ikeshinu Hashem, it's got a different name. The Mikorak Shura, initially it was called wood. Vahashta Tzlola, and now it's called ceiling. Utnan, there was a special takana made ala Morish HaGozel. Let's say somebody stole a wooden beam and then used it to build a house. Shabano Bebira. Shenoitel Doma. The Gazan only has to pay money, the value of it. We're not machayev the Gazan to tear down his house to give him back the beam. We want to make it easy for people to be about tshuva. Haima b'nei takonos hashavim. So the only reason is because of this takana for Baal Tshuva. Halavachi, we would make him tear down the building and give it back, even though there was Shinu Hashem. So Kashan Rav Yosef. We'll answer that tomorrow. Unfortunately, I've sent emails, I've made calls. I still